You're listening to UCW Radio.
In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this.
Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy. Don't run when you lose. Don't whine when it hurts.
You know what it takes to sell real estate?
It takes brass.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
All right, welcome to Money Never Sleeps. This is a show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world, and I welcome you to the show today. What I'm going to focus on is I'm not going to focus on stocks and how things are trading, things of that nature. I leave that to the big boys like Pete Najarian, John Najarian, and Market Rebels. Let them do that. Okay. What I want to talk about is Section 230. All right. Now, for all those that don't know what Section 230 is, this is a big thing that's happening on the Hill right now. Okay. Section 230 basically states that a provider, an internet provider or provider of services, they cannot be designated as a publisher. Thus, they cannot carry the liability as a publisher would. It's interesting because Twitter, Facebook, these are platforms that allow you to connect. These are platforms that allow you to post your thoughts and connect with people, make your comments, reply, retweet, everything else, post your pictures, everything else. You're publishing this stuff. But they are not designated as publishers, which allowed them to grow the way they did, because they don't have to adhere to what a magazine or a newspaper would have to adhere to, where you can go as an individual, post something that's not liable. All right. If a magazine or a newspaper or the news did that, then they would be liable. And that's part of the issue there, because they would have a liability. So they're trying to repeal that 230. The problem is that with that, that also, the First Amendment rights come into effect always. Freedom of speech is important. People need a voice. They need a voice, and the Facebooks and the Twitters of the world have given people their voices more so than before. Where before you wanted a voice, maybe you go write a blog, right? You wanted a voice, maybe you have a podcast or something. Other than that, you really didn't have a mass medium that someone can just go and post their grievances and give their thoughts as to whatever it is that's bugging them. So what's transpiring is that they're trying to change how that's designated, and that's part of what's going on in big tech right now. That's one of it. That's one of the areas. The other area is that you have politicians that are they're targeting big tech. They're saying they got too big. They got too big for their own good. That's not good. You have an oligopoly that's going on. Okay. And there's a, I'm trying to think of the terminology that was utilized. It's an antitrust terminology. It's called conscious parallelisms. Okay, basically, it's a saying that, let's say one tech company does a thing, or a company does a thing, that they may be in cahoots with the other company, but they're doing it first, so their competition is going to follow suit. Okay, and what that does, that behind the scenes, we don't know what happens behind the scenes with anything, but behind the scenes, that can drive up the price of oil, of food products, and it can also impact, whatever's happening in technology. It's just a lot of interesting things that are transpiring today. This is a crazy year, 2020, a crazy year. And look, at Money Never Sleeps, we talk about different things than you would expect on a financial type of show. We talk about whatever impacts the flow of money. I mean, when I mean whatever, I mean whatever. The guests that we're going to have on here, we're going to be talking about different things. It's not so much talking about their stock or as a public company. I'm not Jim Cramer. Okay, I do things just a little bit differently because I'm trying to get a point across and bring people on the show that are going to that are going to share their story with you, their companies, but also give you maybe a different view of what's going on out there, and that's important. This allows us to do this. Okay, so going back to what's happening on the Hill, as I said, they're going after big tech, and they're looking to potentially break apart Google. I don't see that happening. Google, they've been attacked before. But I think this is somewhat different. Way back when, before the Industrial Revolution or during it, and the beginning time of it, you had Standard Oil, okay, Rockefeller, when he brought all this stuff together. Though he used ruthless tactics, he he built Standard Oil, taking all these oil companies and building them up, okay. And when the government came in and said, you're too big, we have to break you apart. Keep in mind that if Standard Oil was here today, they would not be anywhere in the vicinity of the size of Google. They would not be in the vicinity of the size of a Facebook. So that's the argument they're making, that these companies got too big, and by them, dominating an area is preventing competition, where the little guy can't build up and get the next new thing. And which I guess it's important. There needs to be competition. Competition is healthy. Competition is healthy, people. That's what helps us to raise our game. If there's no competition, you get complacent. You're not going to go and make something better. Okay, so it's about making things better for the users, whoever is the users, the listeners, the viewers, whatever. You have to cater to your audience, and that's what is key. So so you have they're looking at that part of it, that it's the lack of competition. Okay, now if Google was to break up, let's say they broke them up. Okay, now do I think that is going to open up doors for more companies coming in to take up space in that arena, in those arenas? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I think that it's risky. I think that it may work, it may not. I really don't know what to think about that, because we're at a point right now that everything's in flux. So you have companies that are coming out with great technology. The problem is, when a company's way too big, what happens? They can gobble up the little guy, okay, and then that becomes an issue there. The investment community, the private equity, the venture capitalists, all these funds out there, they should be looking at the next companies that are coming out. Okay, they should be looking at them, because these are the companies that are gonna take us to the next step. The Googles and the Facebooks, yeah, they're huge. They're really huge, and they may be slow to move. When they do move, you feel the impact. Same thing with Apple. You feel the impact when they do make the move. Okay, Facebook. Just to touch on that, they did something which is, I knew this was going to come to pass. Especially with everything that's going on, they took their Instagram Messenger. They connected that with their Facebook Messenger, and now these two platforms communicate with each other, and that's conjoining their Messenger platform, and the Messenger platform they made into a standalone. So now it's connecting to Instagram. So they're actually making a standalone Messenger platform, and that's pretty much what they're doing, where it's communicating with the different platforms. Would it make it harder to split the company apart? Potentially, because you take Instagram, you spin it out. Where's their direct messaging? Now you have to create another direct messenger for them. It becomes problematic. So I think that they're making it a little difficult for lawmakers to go in and break them apart that easily. So we'll see what's going to happen there. With Google, with everything that's going on, I think that they're going to have, you don't have the leaders that were once there fighting the battle. So I don't know how this is going to go about. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see unfold. Today, they just announced the antitrust lawsuit that they're filing against them. So we'll see what's going to happen. But I do say that, like with right now, Money Never Sleeps is streams on VeroHive, the premier video conferencing platform, the premier video broadcasting platform. This is what we're doing here. Okay. And just to touch on VeroHive really quickly, this is an up and coming next thing happening. Okay. And it's companies like this, and but VeroHive is not a company, it's a brand of Megahoot, but it's companies like this that are innovative, that are creating new things and for the better. They're solving problems with solutions that are scalable. Companies like this should be embraced. Okay, they should be embraced, and I believe that the investment community is beginning to do this with certain companies where they see that potential, and it becomes very interesting, and that's why the venture capitalists need to not go and say, hey, we have to go gobble up this company. If an investor is not going and bringing value to a company, then your money is only as good as what your money can do. Okay, most companies need that guidance. Most companies need that extra something. And if you're not bringing that to the table, then you should really do your homework and see how you can help these companies to grow. Because how else are you going to go and benefit? How else are you going to grow and build and help build that up and profit from it? So you have to look at that. Technology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, like you see right now as you're watching this stream. What do you see? You see augmented reality. Now, this is a frame. You see what is around me right now is augmented reality. Okay, this is something that comes standard on VeroHive. Doesn't come standard anywhere else. So, you're going to see a lot of innovation here, and I'm excited about this stuff. And I'm going to be talking about this on Money Never Sleeps because, this is the next level of things that are going to happen in technology, and there are a lot more. I'm going to wind up bringing other leaders of smaller companies, bring them on the show because I want to showcase them. I want to show the world what they're doing, let them tell their story, and share it with you guys. Money Never Sleeps. Now, with that said, we're going to see what's going to happen with Google and Facebook and, Twitter with the censoring and everything. That's another animal altogether. I don't know the whole story, but I do say, and I realize this with Twitter and Facebook, that what they do, that they have the ability easily, and I've seen it so many times with people that I know on Instagram. It happened to myself too, where they'll go and they'll take your video down, they'll freeze your account, they'll take your post down if someone complains about it because they figure, and if there's no basis on it, it becomes really crazy how you have to go and fight to have that reinstated. But who wants to fight for a post? You go say, hey, this is wrong. This is what it is. It's happened to me with music in the background that I have nothing to do with, but I'm posting something. Just like if I had music behind me right now and if I was posting it, they can go and take the video down. Okay, whether it's machine learning, whatever it is that's happening, you have people that are actually doing this too. So, the bottom line is, if you're going to censor anything, censor everyone across the board, not just the little people that can't defend themselves. You're going to censor the big companies. Well, again, with the censorship of the New York Post, I don't know what happened there. That's not, I don't know. I can't comment on it. The only thing I can say is that if you're going to censor a media company, censor them all. You're going to censor an individual, you censor them all. You make it even. At least this way, everyone is on the same level. Don't censor some and not others. Same way when you have social media companies, they're going and they give verified badges out to people that some people don't even exist, but that easily happens. See, this is where you have some problems, and but these companies, they generate a lot of revenue through advertising. They have advertising platforms, and that's what they do. Okay, if there was a SaaS platform, they wouldn't be that big because people would have to pay for it, and they wouldn't pay for it. I believe Instagram tried that at one time. It didn't work out. Okay, so things need to be free. People will use it, and then you market to them. That's the model they have. On our end, when we do things, we don't put, even on Money Never Sleeps, we don't put, any advertising on here because, we're trying to share a message with the world as best we can. Okay, and this is why we're not really making any stock recommendations or anything like that, because that's not for us to do. Okay, we're bringing you, companies, first information about what's going on, companies that we feel that may be the future, that can share their stories. At the very least, they're very interesting and they're touching on a market. They're giving the insight on a market. So, this is what we're doing now on Money Never Sleeps with the video portion of it. Okay, now with that said, just as you know, Money Never Sleeps has been around over a decade, and you can follow us, and I'm going to point that out. You ready? You can go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Google. What else we got? Stitcher. All right, we have FM Player, and what do we have? We have TuneIn. Okay, and that's the augmented reality part of things. I have to look at it because I had to see what was underneath me. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to thank you guys for tuning in. Trying to make this show as enjoyable as possible. That's why having the guests, having the knowledge, having the information flow is important. All right, but I want to thank you for joining us as always. And look, I'll be back with you on the next episode of Money Never Sleeps. As you know, this is a video series and also a podcast series. So we're going to be coming to you several times a week and sharing our knowledge as best we can. Until then, you guys have a fantastic day.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Luis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Luis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.